All right, guys. So in earlier talks, because we're at another TED Talk at the riverbank, I shared about honoring emotions, about regulating what my body carried. And today is about what that healing made possible. Okay, so buckle up. I saw a post, and it's still in my story, and it was written for men on how to lead a woman of God well. And I was reading it, and I found myself nodding along. I was like, yes, men who lead with prayer, with clarity, with protection, and with intentionality, all that matters. But as I sat with it, I felt this I just felt this nudge in my spirit. And it was because there's another part of the conversation we kind of don't talk enough about. And it's, you can have a man of God who wants to lead well and unintentionally make it hard for him to do so as a woman. Okay. So ladies, I'm kind of talking to us right now. And I say that humbly because I've had to learn this myself. Okay. So I'm not judging. I have been there. Okay. We live in a culture, that just kind of, it celebrates independence, like self-protection. We're taught to stay ahead emotionally. We're, taught to kind of fill silence quickly, to control outcomes. So, we don't get hurt. But the way of Jesus, it's different. The kingdom invites us into something very countercultural, and that's slowness. It's trust, it's order. It's surrender. Come on. And part of that, especially for women, is learning how to receive leadership without forcing it. Okay. And that's something that I really had to learn. And it's about letting a man lead instead of managing the moment and stuff. A man of God can genuinely want to pray first, move with clarity, protect peace and lead with intention. They can want to do all these things. But if we're rushing the process or managing the outcome or emotionally kind of sprinting ahead of what God is doing, we can totally unintentionally take the very space that he needs to lead. And, it's not condemnation. It's self-awareness. I've been guilty of it. Okay. I can admit that and stuff. And this isn't about shrinking. So it's not we have to shrink ourselves as women. So I'm not saying that. It's about women and it's not about women becoming passive. It's not about us, putting men on a pedestal or anything like that. It's just about the right order of, okay? Because I've talked about in Hebrew, the word shalom, it doesn't just mean peace. It means wholeness. It means alignment. It means missing, nothing's missing, nothing's forced. And when we live from that place, we don't chase clarity, we don't pressure a process, and we don't confuse chemistry with covenant. We actually allow God to lead first, and then we allow people to rise or to reveal themselves and stuff. Sometimes they rise, sometimes they just reveal, who they truly are. It just depends. We've kind of forgot this design that really matters. In Genesis, there is a word used for women, and it's not assistant, and I'm going to butcher this, but it's Ezer Kenago or something. I have to look it up. But Ezer means strength, and it's often used to describe God himself, and this Kenago means face to face. Okay, so this actually means women were never designed to men or to compete with them or control the direction quietly behind the scenes. Okay, we were designed to stand across from them, strong, clear and discerning, and kind of a mirror actually and stuff. In a culture we kind of avoid discomfort. Okay, that kind of clarity can feel like an attack, but biblically it's not an attack. It's actually protection, because when both people are aligned with God, okay, it's got to be both people are aligned. The mirror doesn't create conflict. It creates order. And this is kind of where it comes out from my own personal testimony. And I want to be really clear about why I'm sharing this. I'm not sharing this because I got I got this perfectly right, because I'm gonna be honest, I totally did. Okay, but I'm sharing it because God, he saw my heart. Okay, he saw my heart. He saw that I wanted alignment. He saw that I wanted to, love well. And in his kindness, he didn't shame me for what I hadn't fully learned yet. Okay, he formed me. That's our God. He's the potter. We are the clay. He slowed me down. He corrected my posture, and he taught me restraint and trust and order. And that really matters, because that's where growth growth doesn't always come from getting it right. Sometimes it comes from God and just honor, God just honoring our sincere heart and honestly just like kind of waiting patiently and allowing him to like shape our capacity over time. Okay. And so like, this is what I want to talk about. So like, this isn't me speaking from arrival, because, I'm still being formed and stuff. It's speaking from like integration. Okay. Like all these things put together. I can see now where like I rushed. I can see where like I filled space. God was asking me to kind of just like leave open. I can see where like love, like it was present, but order was still being formed. Okay. And I don't carry shame about that. I actually carry like an extreme amount of gratitude and stuff, because if God gives me another chapter, I trust that the outcome is going to be different, not because like a situation changes, not because the other person changes, because my posture has, and that's mercy. Like that is like the definition of mercy of God. That's the patience of God. And that's the kind of formation that actually like it prepares us for covenant and stuff. And it's covenant with him first, then it's with one another. Okay. So if you're listening to this and something resonates, maybe it's not because like you've done it wrong, but because you're still being formed. And I want to say like, that's okay. Like, I just want to invite you into this reflection and just like kind of, ask like, where might God be asking you to slow down? Like, where may he be asking you to like release control or to trust like order, over urgent and stuff, like not to strive, like not to fix, because as women, we can be like, that's something that we do sometimes, to receive like what he's forming in us right now. Like what is he forming in you right now? Because when posture changes, like outcomes do too. And God is the kind of God, like he is so kind enough that he walks us through the process and stuff. And so that's just kind of what's on my heart today. I just kind of want to get in here and like share some personal testimonies, because I believe like when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and like really connect with others and stuff, like, the internet, it's so full of, perceived perceptions of things. Like I want it to be real. Like the person that you see on this screen is going to be the same person that you meet at line at the Walmart or, like at church or something. Like I don't want to be a person that's like has like these different I guess like personalities or whatever, or like different like stages, like, like, oh, here's Instagram Melissa, and then like here's, Melissa at church, and oh, here's Melissa at work. I try to stay very consistent. I think, that's what God calls us to do, is to stay consistent and to stay into his character and who he's designed us to be, and to carry that salt and light in all spheres of influence. So I'm going to continue sharing as I feel led, and I hope these blesses you guys, and that it just helps you just to internally reflect. And I hope that you feel encouraged that, if you struggled with anything that I talk about, like, really bring it to the feet of Jesus and allow him to just grow and develop you and cultivate like this deeper relationship. And I'm telling you, like, he gets the roots up, he'll go hand in hand with you, and living with him and doing things his way. Like my life is so different and in such a good way. And I'm just so incredibly thankful for it. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.